This conference will now be
Okay,
recorded.
so we have started the recording. Okay, we are just doing a little recap, so I'm not sharing my screen at the moment, but once required, I'll share my screen as well. Okay, so I was talking about Node.js. So there are some issues if I just run my code right within the browser. So basically, if I'm trying to run my JavaScript code right inside the browser, I basically severely limit JavaScript capability. I cannot access files. I cannot run automated scripts, or maybe I cannot use external libraries. You will not be able to understand about these external libraries. So once we move on to Playwright, then you'll be able to understand. So what is the reason that I want to run JavaScript code right inside the browser? It's simply used for quick experiments. So basically, you want to run some very simple JavaScript code. You don't even need VS Code for that. Okay, so if you just want to run basic JavaScript code, your browser is good enough. But you can't create a full-fledged application inside the browser. You cannot write your Playwright script right inside the browser. So for that, you need a full-fledged tool which is called as VS Code. So VS Code is a very, very popular tool for JavaScript. So more than 95% people who are actually coding in JavaScript or TypeScript, they actually use VS Code, which is a very lightweight browser supported by Microsoft. Okay, now we just learned about Node.js, right? So what is Node.js? It is a runtime environment that allows you to run JavaScript outside the browser. Okay. So when I talk about the VS Code is really powerful and very popular code editor. Okay. So it is also called as IDE. IDE stands for Integrated Development Environment. So why do people like to use IDE? It is because it gives some very powerful functionalities called syntax highlighting. It gives us some good suggestion options. For example, IntelliSense, or it VS Code has its own command prompt or its own terminal. So that is why people don't prefer to write their code in notepad files or something and then rename to JavaScript. It is better to write your code right within the VS Code so that we are able to code faster and smarter. Okay. And VS Code also has debugging support. That is not possible if you are just writing your JavaScript code right within the notepad. And of course, your VS Code has some good extensions for almost everything. Like I've shown you, so there are some good handy options. So for instance, in my case of VS Code, I have a very popular extension called as Material Icon Theme, which gives some beautiful icons to my VS Code. Some of you may want to have it, some of you want to keep your VS Code very simple. That is completely optional, right? And we have a very important extension again that is supported in VS Code, not in browser, and that is called as Code Runner by Junhan. So everything what I'm talking is actually there in the notes, and I've shared these notes with those people who have successfully completed the login functionality. It's a very simple exercise that I shared with you, right? For the remaining folks, I'll share, but in a day or two. So this is just to reward people like who are actually doing what I was telling. Okay. So next is, firstly, VS Code is not really a browser, but a lot of beginners call it the most popular browser for developers because of its user friendliness and popularity. Once you start coding in VS Code, you'll actually realize that VS Code is such a beautiful tool for coding JavaScript. Okay, now, yeah, I told you that inside the browser. Okay, let me quickly share my screen also so that it will be easier. So, okay, so I've shared my screen. Anyone can please confirm if you're able to see it?
Yes, yes, I can see now.
Perfect. Thank you for confirming. So, let me go to Google. So, how do I open the developer tools? So, it is very simple. Just right click inside the browser, click on inspect, and then click on the console tab. This is the place wherein you can run your JavaScript code. Okay. So, now there are three ways, I mean, how we can clear the browser console. Okay. So, the very first option is what? Control L. So, suppose if I've written some basic JavaScript code like this, and I want to clear this console. First option is click on the clear button. Second option is use the clear method like this, of course with parentheses. Third option is simply press the Control and L key. Control and L. And this shortcut works in VS Code also. Somehow I really like Control L, why it is very, very fast. Okay. Now, so these are these basics. Now we'll talk about the basics of JavaScript. So if you remember, I told you spacings doesn't matter in JavaScript. So if I write code like this, 4 by 2, that works. I can even write 4 space like this also. So what does it mean? We should have optimal number of spacing so that my code is more readable. I'm not just going to teach you JavaScript and Playwright. I'll also teach a lot about good practices and bad practices. Why I'm teaching you bad practices? So that you should know what not to do. And good practices is about what Really have to do. Why? I've been into automation industry for almost 19 years now. I have seen the simple issues what a lot of people struggle with. So thank you so much that a lot of people are sharing with me that you have never done coding before. Some of you are still afraid of coding. I was exactly like you, right? So back then when I really got started in coding, I think somewhere around 2008 2009. Back then I had no guidance, no mentorship. There was no YouTube. Maybe YouTube was started, but somehow there were no IT videos. So for me back then, it was very difficult. I knew how I actually got started. I did so many mistakes, so many trials, and that is how I'm able to reach where I am. But you don't have to go through that similar struggle. Why? Because nowadays in digital era, right? Some of you are sitting in UK, some of you are in US, some of you are in India. Doesn't matter. Why? With IT, we can actually connect from anywhere. So coming on to JavaScript, I also told you that still 16 digits, JavaScript remembers the precision. What do I mean by that? If I'm writing some zeros like this, so if these are 15 zeros, sorry, 16 zeros, JavaScript will remember the precision. But beyond 16 digits, JavaScript will lose the precision. So if you see, after 16 digits, JavaScript will lose all these decimal points and it gives me only this output as well. So whenever I type something here, it means this is my input with this right arrow. And whenever I see something in this left arrow, it means this is the output. It is very simple. Okay. So next part is what I've talked about. If I want to do something, let's say cubing or squares, it is very simple. Simply use the exponentiation operator like this. Okay. And then we have something called as power, which is what? To do the same thing, I can use the math.pow function. So in this, I can use 2 to the power 3 using the math utility object, and POW is the function inside the math utility object. We'll talk about a lot of functions here, so don't worry if something is not very clear. This is very, very simple actually. Okay, next, what we also learned what NaN is actually a special value in JavaScript which stands for not a number. So this is not an error. So suppose if I try to do something like this, say 0 by 0, it gives me NaN. So JavaScript is slightly weird at times compared to Java. Why? Because if I try to divide 1 by 0, it gives me infinity, but 0 by 0 gives NaN. Okay, so this is about NaN. So NaN is not an error. It is simply a numeric value in JavaScript. And very, very important thing is, if you remember, I told you one thing. Whenever I'm creating variables, I should always use lower camel casing. Lower camel casing means if I want to create a variable name, the first character of the first word should always start with a lower case. And all the subsequent words, the first letter of all the subsequent words will be in capital, so that it becomes very, very easier to understand. Okay, so this is an example of lower camel casing. Okay, next I talked about unary operator and binary operator. In the case of binary operator, it requires multiple operands. For unary operator, it requires single operand. Okay, and then I was also talking about the last part, which is what variable naming rules. So this is, I think, we ended our session with last time. So what are the variable names? This is something that is very, very important. Firstly, variable names cannot start with a letter. So this is an illegal variable name. Why? It is starting with a letter. So it is not allowed. Second thing, variable names can only contain letters, numbers, underscores, or even the dollar sign. Now, even this dollar sign is allowed. That doesn't mean that I should have to use this dollar sign. Personally, I've never used this dollar. And even in JavaScript, we should not use underscores and even dollar. Why? We should use this lower camel casing convention like this. Okay, so we should only use letters and numbers, even though these are allowed. Okay, next is we should not use reserved JavaScript keywords. When I say reserved JavaScript keywords, it means let is a keyword in JavaScript. Okay, similarly, console is a keyword and const is a keyword, break is a keyword. So any of the existing JavaScript keyword I should never use. Why? Firstly, it look very weird, and second thing, it is not allowed only. Okay, so we should never do such kind of thing. Okay, and finally, never ever use uppercase letters for variables, because uppercase variables are reserved for global constants. Okay, so what do I mean by that? So if I create a variable like this, say let person equal to Piyush. So what am I doing? I'm creating a variable called person using the let keyword, and I'm using the assignment operator equal to and passing this value Piyush into this variable called person. You can imagine this like there's a box, and on this particular box you have assigned a label called person, and inside this box you have basically dumped or kept a value called Piyush. That is what it means. Okay, so this is one variable. If I want to create another variable, I think I've shown you even last time. So if I want to create basically a variable called pi, right? So pi is like a global constant. If you go back to our mathematics class wherein we heard about something like pi r square, 2 pi r. So pi r square is area of circle, I believe, right? I'm not very good with maths. And then we have something called as 2 pi r, which is the circumference of the circle, I believe, right? So basically pi is like a global constant. Now, if you see over here, I'm getting an error. So firstly, whenever we get an error, never ever get afraid. Why? Our mindset should be like, I want to figure things out. I'm getting better in JavaScript. And that is how our coding fear will, start reducing. So simply bring the mouse on the error. VS Code will clearly tell you what exactly is the error. Cannot redeclare block scope variable pi. It means it is clearly telling me I have already created a variable called pi somewhere above. And that is what is not letting me create. See, I've already created a variable like this. Okay, so these uppercase is completely used for what? Global constants. Okay, that is why. And yeah, you might have seen I'm using these two forward slashes and everything is in green color. What it means, basically what I'm trying to do is I'm actually adding a comment over here so that JavaScript will completely ignore whatever is in the green color. So basically, this is just for my understanding. I can make anything as a comment. Suppose if I want to comment out these two lines of code, just select these two lines. It is very simple. Simply press, if I'm on Mac, I'll press Command and forward slash. If you're on Windows, you have to press Control and forward slash. See, it is commented. Again, if I'll press Command and forward slash, it is uncommented. It is that simple. Okay, so this is how we use commenting option. Okay, and now in the browser console, yeah, again, one important thing. If I'm in the browser and let's say I want to print something, I really don't need console.log. So for people who are from Java background, they might have seen something like this: system.out.println in Java. This is used to print something in the console. So similarly in JavaScript, you can say the counterpart of system.out.println is console.log. But in the browser, I'm already in the browser console. I really don't need to write console.log. If I really want to print something, just type the value and it is printed. But in the case of VS Code, if I really want to print something, suppose I want to print my name, I cannot just write my name like this. Of course, it is not going to throw an error, right? So I'm not getting any error here. But the problem is this is not going to be executed and basically printed in the output. In order to really print into the output, I have to use a function in JavaScript that is called as console.log. Okay, so this is how I use. So if I really want to use a function will always have a starting parenthesis and it will always have an ending parenthesis. It might take something in between, it might not take anything in between. In this case, it requires something. So now if I run this piece of code, how do I run it? It is very simple. Simply select this line and click on the play button. Okay, in case if you don't have this play button, I have shown you, go to the extensions tab and download this particular extension called Code Runner by Junhan. And this way we can install, basically we get this play icon over here. Now, rather than going to the terminal and typing this command node space file name, that is how we execute any JavaScript file. So this is a very handy option. Just click on the play button and you see the output, which is Piyush. So if I really want to print something within the VS Code, use this method. And this is a very handy method. It is basically used for debugging or if something is not working out. Okay. Now, if you remember, I also told you. So we have something called as ES6 or ES 2015. So in 2015, there was a very major upgradation that happened in JavaScript. Okay, so everything that was a part of this 2015 upgrade is also called as ES6 or ES 2015. And it is also considered as a part of modern JavaScript. So if I talk about this let and const keywords that I've shown you, right? So this let and const are what? They are introduced in ES6. So they are a part of modern JavaScript. While the var keyword that I was showing you, this is the third way of creating variables. This is a very poor way of creating variables. So firstly, we should never ever use var. I'll show you later on. At this moment, you'll not be able to understand, but there are some issues with this var keyword. That is why we should never use it. Okay. So I hope this particular part is also clear. Any questions, any doubts so far, guys? Or is it fine? Even if you're putting messages, I will not be able to see because I'm not okay. So looks like there is no question at the moment. Okay, so let us move on. So as per the best practice, we should only use const. If at all I feel that there is a variable that might change sometime in the future, then I should not use const. I should use let, and no way I should ever use var. Okay, so I hope this part is also very clear. Okay, and then I was showing you, so var is something we should never use. Okay, right.
Piyush, what's the technical
Hmm.
reason not to use where keyword in JavaScript?
Okay, so I can tell you right now, but you may or may not be able to understand. Okay, let me just tell you one thing. So var is something why we should never use, because var has got no block scope. Some people like who are completely new, completely beginners, they will not be able to understand this term. What is block? What is scope? So that is I'm not covering, right? But I can just tell you still. So if at all I create a variable inside the if statement, for instance, if this is my if statement like this, okay, and if I create a variable using the var keyword like this, var name equal to Piyush. The problem with var is I will be able to access this variable outside the if block also, which is not right. So I'm breaking the scoping rule actually. For let and const, it works perfectly, but for var, it doesn't work perfectly. So this is the first reason why we should not use var. Second reason is var variables can be redeclared. This is very weird in JavaScript. I can still do like this. Var, say, what is your good name? You asked the question, right? Hello? You're able to
Javid this side.
Javid. So okay, so suppose can you see this? This particular part is actually allowed in JavaScript, which is very weird. In Java, it is not allowed. So in a way, JavaScript can be sometimes weird, but it is again very simple to understand. So of course, so with good things we have get some good problems also. So JavaScript is of course very simple to learn compared to Java, but it has some small issues also. So this is the second reason why we should not use var. Okay, but for people like who don't have any coding background, don't worry about this if this doesn't make sense. But
So
yeah,
problem behind that key we can access outside the block, right?
yes, so we can access this name outside the block, which should not be allowed. Why? Because this
Ideally,
can cause a lot of issues in my code. We are breaking the scoping rule. Ideally, I should not be allowed to use a variable outside its current scope. That is one of the issues. Second thing is I can redeclare the variable using the var keyword. Again, which is very weird. In
there
the
is
case
a
of let and const, it is not allowed. Okay, right? So next thing, as a part of quick recap, so we also learned something called as how do we install Playwright. So how do I clear the terminal? Control and L key. Okay, so you see we got this particular folder structure. How we got this folder structure? Just because I ran this simple command called npm init playwright @latest. So this @latest is not really required. Why? Because by default the latest version of Playwright will be downloaded, and you see this file playwright.config.js, which is the configuration file of Playwright. And then you also see this file package.json, which is a mandatory file for all the Node.js projects. Okay, so suppose if I'm a JavaScript developer and I'm creating some front-end application, suppose, right, I will have this package.json and I may have nothing to do with Playwright. In that case, I will not have this playwright.config.js. I will not have this Playwright, this dependency also, but it is still a Node.js project. So every Node.js project may or may not be a Playwright project, but every Playwright project has to be a Node.js project. Okay, so we got this folder called test wherein we are going to store all our Playwright tests. So this is the folder that is going to be created after I run my first Playwright test. Okay, and this is the folder node modules wherein I'm going to store all my dependencies. Okay, so I hope with this our revision is also done and we have actually learned something new also. Okay, so today I want to basically before starting I want to show you something that is called as a small coding exercise. Okay, so what is that coding exercise that I want to show you? So for that purpose, what I can do is inside the JavaScript folder, let me create one more file called one say anything, say coding 1.js. Okay, so inside this coding dot exercise, whatever I've shared with you, so this coding exercise you guys should be able to solve. It is very simple, right? But I would like to give you some time so that you should be able to do it. So imagine that there are two people, one is Rahul and second is Aman. Okay, so I want to compare their BMI When I say BMI, it means body mass index. It has something to do with health. Don't worry, people who are not health conscious, that's absolutely okay. So I want to calculate both of their body mass index. And what is the formula of getting body mass index? It is very simple. And notice that I'm using comments so that JavaScript simply ignores them. I'll simply write like this: BMI equal to weight of people, or I can say mass or weight, whatever, weight divided by height square. Okay, so how do I write height square? Maybe if I'm writing in plain English, this is how I'll write. Okay, this is not JavaScript, this is pure English, what I'm saying. Weight divided by height square. This is the formula. Okay, where weight is in kg and height is in meter. So what I want to do is I want to store Rahul's height and Rahul's weight in two variables. Similarly for Aman, I want to create Aman's weight and Aman's height in two separate variables. Then using this particular formula, I want to basically calculate both of their BMIs using this formula, and then finally I'll calculate if Rahul's BMI is higher or Aman's BMI is higher. Okay, and then whosoever BMI is higher, I just want to print it out in the console. That's a very, very simple exercise, right? So please try attempting it, right? I'll be stop sharing my screen for at least for 2 minutes. Okay, I'll also be pausing this recording, but I still want you all to do this exercise, right? It's okay even if you are able to start but not able to complete. That's absolutely normal. This is a very simple one, right? Exactly. You guys are able to hear me, right?
Now
Yes.
we can, but few minutes back we lost you.
Okay, not sure what happened actually. It says audio got disconnected, audio is connected. Okay, yeah. So I was saying that. So I hope you're able to see this coding exercise, what I was talking about, right? Anyone can please confirm?
Yes, yes, we were able to see that. Your screen, yeah.
Hello, guys. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, yeah. So I was saying that. So when I was talking about the coding exercise, are you guys understood like what we have to do exactly? Or you want me to repeat once again?
Can you please repeat once?
Yeah, definitely. So what I'll do is, okay, I'll reshare my screen again. Okay, so is it visible?
Yes.
Okay, so people who are clear with this requirement, please start attempting this coding. Okay, so in this case, there are two people. One is Rahul and Aman. So these are the two people. Okay, so for these two people, I want to calculate the body mass index, and then finally I want to compare whose body mass index is higher. Now, if you want to find out the body mass index of these two people, this is the formula. So if I have this person's weight and its height, weight is in kg, height is in meter, so I can use this particular formula to calculate the BMI of Rahul, and use the same formula I can calculate the BMI of Aman, right? And it is very simple. And then finally, I'll find out, is this BMI higher or is this BMI higher? Whosoever BMI is higher, I just want to print it out in the console. That's it. Okay, so is the requirement now clear, guys?
Yes,
Yes.
clear.
Perfect. Just try attempting it. That's okay. Even if you are able to do, even if you're not able to do, that is absolutely fine. Just try it out. I would like to give you 2 or 3 minutes. Okay, and then I'll show you the solution.
This
And I'll share my
conference
screen
will
again.
now be recorded.
Okay, so okay, my screen is already shared. So okay, so are you on my screen, guys? Can I start now?
Yes.
Okay, so now look at this. It is very simple. So firstly, I'm gonna create basically what? I'm going to create four variables, two for Rahul and two for Aman. Why? I want to store its weight and its height. Similarly for Aman, I want to store Aman's weight and Aman's height. So how many variables I need? Four. Make sense?
Yes.
So why do I need to create variables? It is because I don't want to use these values again and again. Otherwise, it becomes very hard. So that's the whole purpose of creating variables, so that I don't end up using the same values again and again. Rather than using these values, it is better to refer these values by their variables. I hope it makes sense. So let me call it something like this. Mass of Rahul is what? Let's say Rahul is 78 kgs of weight. Okay. and then say height of Rahul is what, in maybe 1.69. Okay, I'm just taking any random figures. Similarly, I want to create two more variables. Say const mass of Aman equal to 92. So clearly we can see that Aman is slightly overweight than Rahul. Okay, and then we can see that const height of Aman is what, 1.95. So Aman is even taller than Rahul. Now I have created these two variables for Rahul. I have created these two variables for Aman. What is the next step? I want to find out their BMI. So if I have their weight and if I have their height, and now I can easily calculate the BMI. So what should I do? And yeah, notice that I'm using lower camel casing for these four variables. Why? I'm following the good coding practices. Okay. So now how do I create the BMI? Very simple. Simply use const BMI of Rahul equal to, firstly, what is the formula? Weight divided by height square. What is the weight of Rahul? I have to use this, divided by. In JavaScript, I use the forward arrow to use as a division operator. Then what do I want to do? I want to divide its height square. So how do I use height square? This is something, if you remember, I've told you we have the exponentiation operator. So whatever is the height, I'm simply squaring it. And whatever is the output, I'm simply dividing it by mass of Rahul. That's it. Similarly, what I can do, I can just copy this, and for Aman, I can just replace Rahul with Aman. So this is Aman here, and this is the height of Aman. That's it. So this is how we can calculate the BMI of Rahul and Aman. Right. And finally, what do I want to find out? I just want to find out if this BMI is higher or this BMI is higher. Right. So what do I do? Again, very simple. Simply, I can create one more variable. Right. Say, okay, I can write like this: higher BMI. Okay. So what I can do, I can write like this. I can write BMI of Rahul greater than BMI of Aman. That's it. And what do? I just want to print out their final values. So I've told you I can use the console.log method in JavaScript to print out any value. And if I want to print multiple values, what do? Simply separate them out with a comma. So I want to print this BMI. So I'll use this. I'll use comma, and then I'll use BMI of Aman, because I want to print Rahul's BMI, Aman's BMI, and I want to see whose BMI is higher. Okay, so now this is what I want to say. So basically, this is going to return me what? Either true or false, right? So either Rahul's BMI can be higher or this BMI can be higher. So this can be either true or false. So let us simply print. Now, if I want to run this entire file, I don't have to select this, right? I don't have to select this. If I want to run this entire file, just click on the play button and see the output. See, this is the first value that gets printed, which is the BMI of Rahul, which is 27 point something. This is the BMI of Aman, which is 24 point something. And higher BMI means true. So it clearly means that Rahul's BMI is higher than Aman's BMI. That's it. Coding is problem is solved. Now I would like to ask you again. So yeah. So what do you think now? Is it so difficult again? After looking the solution, what do you guys think?
Hi, sir.
Yes,
Actually,
Sabir.
could you please go on editor, sir? I have a small doubt there.
Yeah, please, definitely.
Yeah.
Sure.
In line number 14, sir,
Hmm.
what
Yeah.
we are we comparing both BMIs or what we
Yes.
are doing here?
Yes, I'm exactly comparing their BMIs using the comparison operator. So this greater than is a comparison operator. Okay, let me make it very simple for you. If I write like this, 18 greater than 14. If I write like this, what should be the output of this? Either it can
Mhm.
be true, it can be false. Correct?
True, correct.
Correct. So in this case, what is the output if I simply run this? Okay, let me just run it in the console. That will make it even more easier for you. So if I go to the console, if I type like this, see, 18 greater than 14 is true. And if I write like this, 18 less than 14, now should return false. So this,
Once.
yeah, so this greater than sign or this less than arrow sign, it returns a boolean value which is true and false. I've not taught you about the boolean values. I wanted to cover it today, so don't worry, I'll cover it now.
Sir, in other programming, like if we want to compare the two variables greater or less, then if we have if else statement, right?
Correct.
But
I have not shown you the if else condition at the moment. It is very early at this moment. I'm just
oh,
going very step by step.
okay, okay, okay.
Yeah,
All
in
right.
case if you're wondering, if condition is a better way of doing this. See, I was
Yeah.
telling you, I'll be showing you a very average way of coding. I'll also show you a good way of coding.
Hmm. By that way also we can compare
Oh, yes, yes,
these two values.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, I can show you like this also. See, I can simply write like this. If condition, in your case, other people are not able to understand it, that's very much normal. So in the case of if condition, I'll write my condition, which is this one, right? So it will return me either true or false. So I can write like this, console.log Rahul's, Rahul BMI is higher, right? Or I can write, okay, just a sec, else. I hope this is something what you wanted to see, right?
Yes, sir. This is
Yeah, so we can do like this also, but I didn't want to cover if else because this is too early.
got it,
Because
sir.
there are so many people who are very beginner, very new to coding. So I'm treating it very slow actually. Some of you might feel my speed is little slow also, but I'm actually accommodating everyone from scratch.
Thank you, sir. Perfect.
No worries. Yeah, I would like to ask you now those people like who were actually mentioning that this particular problem is tough. What do you guys think now? Is it still tough or is it not very difficult now after looking at the solution? Please let me know. Please unmute yourself, guys. Yes, Rekha.
Hi, Piyush. Oh, this is easy. Yeah.
Right? See, coding is easy. Right? This is the mindset that I want to install in all of your heads. Coding is damn easy. If you'll keep on saying this yourself, eventually your mind will start believing it. That is how I actually change my personality. So it is actually easy. Okay. Second person. I think it was Geeta. I forgot actually who was the second person was who was sharing that this is little tough. Is it Lakshmi or what? Not sure.
It's me. It's me, Neetu.
Neetu. Yes, Neetu. Now, what do you think? Rekha
Yeah, yeah.
told
It's
that it is simple
no,
now.
it's not tough at all. It's very simple. It's just number of steps. That's all.
Okay. Right. So this is how we get better in coding. I hope you are able to see now. Right. So what I'm gonna do is I'll be sharing everything step by step, and I'll be keep continuously sharing some assignments with you. I'll be sharing notes with you, and I'm damn confident that by the end of JavaScript, I'm not even talking about Playwright. Firstly, we'll come and complete JavaScript so that our fundamentals is clear. Because ultimately, if you really want to code with Playwright, you need to have a very sound knowledge of JavaScript. Right. So by the end of JavaScript, I really want all of you to tell me that. Thank you, Piyush. So my JavaScript concepts are a lot clear now, and I'm very confident. You may not be an expert. I cannot claim you to be an expert, but I can say that you'll be very comfortable with coding. At least you will never say that I'm still afraid of coding. That is something I really want to erase from your DNA. Shall we proceed, guys?
Yes, sir. Sure.
Okay. And yeah, firstly, there is no sir, there is no madam here. We all are equal, right? It may be that I may have slightly more experience than you. Okay. Right. So let us get started. So I want to talk about something, which is what data types. So what are data types? Anyone can tell me? Any idea what are data types? No? Anyone? Okay. So I'll show you what exactly are data types. So okay, let me close this because somehow I like to see my screen a lot less cluttered. So I want to just close all the unnecessary tabs out there. Okay, so let me just create one more file called data types. So 2.data types. Always remember that my JavaScript file should end with .js. Otherwise, VS Code will
Uh,
not be able to run
could you please
it. Hmm?
explain the structure of the project because I'm totally new and today is my first day. I'm unable
Okay,
to
okay.
understand the structure of the project.
Okay, so basically, this is the structure of the Playwright project. I don't plan to cover it right now because this is just at this moment, I want to cover just the JavaScript part and I want to cover everything about Playwright, even though I might have covered some things about Playwright. Why this is like a more of demo class wherein I want to teach you both Playwright and JavaScript. But at the moment, I know that a lot of you have actually decided that you're going ahead with this code. So for now, I'm treating it like a proper course now, wherein we are teaching basically we are starting from complete JavaScript and everything about this Playwright we'll be talking again once we actually start with Playwright. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Hello. Okay.
yeah.
So basically this is the folder structure that is actually created once I install Playwright. At this moment, don't worry, and you will actually forget it. Why? Because we're not going to talk about Playwright at least for the next 1 month. We want to cover in depth JavaScript, and then I'll teach you everything from scratch about this folder structure. I hope that works for you. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Perfect. So let's get started. Right. So what do I want to do here? I want to talk about primitive types in JavaScript, which is a very, very important concept. So when I say primitive types, it means JavaScript has couple of types. Let me show you. First is number, then we have string, then we have something called as boolean, then we have something called as null and undefined. Okay. So what do I mean by this? In JavaScript, I can have a value that can either be a number, it can be either a string, it can be a boolean, it can be a null, it can be an undefined. Okay, so we'll start with numbers. So numbers something I've already shown you in the previous classes. So numbers are very, very simple. So if I go to the console, clear it out. So this is a number. Numbers can be whole numbers, numbers can be a decimal point numbers also like this. This is also comes under the same number data type. So what is the meaning of data type or the primitive data types? It means what is the type of data that it can hold. So basically this is a number, this is also a number, right? Even I can have a negative number like this minus 99. So they are all coming under one type which is called as number. Okay. Then we have something called as string and boolean. I'll start with boolean for now because boolean is very, very simple. So booleans are just very simple values. It can contain only two values. So booleans are just two. Booleans are just two values. What do I mean? It can contain either a true or it can contain either a false. That's it. There's no third value in Boolean, right? I can give you a very simple example. Suppose if I were to ask you, is today Monday? If I ask you a simple question, you can only answer me either in yes or no. There cannot be a third answer. Now try imagining you give me an answer as maybe. There is no maybe for this, right? If I ask you is today Monday, right? You can either answer yes or no. Simply yes or no means true or false, or one or zero. Simply. So these are called as Boolean values. I hope this is clear. And next, right? Let me give you some very, very simple examples of where we can
Yes,
actually use
here is a
these.
question from my end.
Please go on.
Uh, as you said, string is a primitive data types in
Hmm.
JavaScript, right? But in
Right.
Java, I think it's non-primitive. It doesn't. It's belong to something character in the memory, right?
Okay, okay. See, yeah, that is what I was about to say. That Java and JavaScript are very much similar in some ways. In some ways, they are completely different also. Right. So if we'll start comparing Java and JavaScript, this course can actually turn into a very bigger course, right? Which is something I don't want to, because Java and JavaScript are completely different. But in the case of JavaScript, if I talk about, so string is something that comes under primitive types. Okay, so we'll talk about in depth about strings. Okay,
So
for now.
which we can assign the string directly over here, right?
Oh, yes, yes, absolutely. It is very simple. I can show you. Yes. So if I come over to my VS Code, right, let me give you some simple examples wherein I should use booleans. For instance, if I want to create a variable like this, let I can create a variable like this. Let is logged in, right? See, is clearly means that I'm asking a question. Whenever I'm asking a question, it can only be answered in true or false, yes or no, right? So it can be answered in true. True means yes, or false means no. Another question that I want to ask. Game over. Again, this can be answered in true or false. True or false, right? So basically, booleans are simply true or false values that can be answered in either yes or it can be answered in no, and there's no third value. Okay, so this is about boolean. This is the most simplest data type. Okay, and next we have something weird in JavaScript. That is something I want to show you, and that is variables can change data type. Okay, and I'll be sharing all these notes with you in case if you're wondering, so you don't have to make notes at all. Just focus on concentrating for now. Okay, so let's say I'm creating a variable called num of donuts. See, and I'm giving it an initial value of 2. So this assignment operator is equal to. What does this do? Some people who are not from coding background, it simply means I'm taking this value, what is on the right hand side of equal to, and assigning to the variable that is on the left hand side. So in simple words, I'm creating a variable num of donuts and I'm giving it an initial value of 12. That's it, right? So what is the initial value of num of donuts, which is 12? 12 is a number. Okay, now I said that variables can change type. It means I can do a weird thing in JavaScript, which is what I can give it a completely new type of value. For instance, I'm now giving it a value of false. See, JavaScript is not complaining. If it was Java, it would have complained. So this is slightly weird thing. Ideally, I don't want to do this. So I can write like this. Don't do this. Rather create a separate variable for this because this can lead to bugs in my code. And now again I'm doing num of donors. Can you see something over here? What is this box actually? This box is a suggestion box provided by VS Code. That is what I was actually talking, right? So we don't get such suggestions inside the browser. We might get some basic suggestions, but these are some advanced suggestions here in the VS Code. So that is what, VS Code is so powerful. It helps me elevate my coding experience, right? And now I can actually use this variable name from here, and I can give it another numeric value, say 100. So this is actually weird, but this is possible in JavaScript. So what do I mean by this? I'm trying to say variables can change their type. Okay. So next is, I hope this particular part is clear. Any questions, please do ask me. Okay, next I'm going to talk about something called as strings. So what are strings? Strings are basically pieces of text or strings of characters, and we wrap them in single quote or double quote of backticks. Now a very quick funny question to all of you. Anyone who can look into the keyboard and tell me where is the backtick key right inside your keyboard? There's a key called backtick key. Surprisingly, 90%
Below
people are not
escape.
aware.
Below the
Below
escape.
escape.
Below the escape.
Below the escape. Okay, okay, right. Because when I got started, I had no idea. And actually, I'm also giving some corporate trainings in currently in Hyderabad in India. Right. Even I asked the same question to my attendees. Surprising, nobody. So basically, the attendees were 120 people. I'm taking basically 4 batches here simultaneously. Okay, nobody like were able to tell me that we had this backtick key below the escape key, and I'm quite pleasantly surprised to hear that 4 people in this group they are able to tell me. Right, so this is the backtick key, which is right above the tab key or below the escape key. Okay, so this is like a slanted quote like this. This is called as backtick key. So I can wrap my strings, right? I can wrap my strings either in single quote or the double quote or the backtick. So how do I create a string? Very simple. I can create like this. Let first name equal to Piyush. This time I'm using single quote. Okay. Now another way, I can use another variable called MSG. This time, instead of using single quote, I can use a double quote. So in JavaScript, right, I can use single quote or double quote. There's a third way also, as I was telling you. We can use a backtick key like this. This is also a string in JavaScript. So both are, I mean, not both, all these 3 ways are equally working. So these are the 3 ways of how we can create a string in JavaScript. Okay. So we have to be careful. If I'm starting with single quote, I have to end with single quote. If I'm starting with double quote, I have to end with double quote. But if I don't end with the double quote and if I end with a single quote instead, see, now VS Code is complaining to me that there is some issue. Right? Simply bring the mouse here. It tells me unterminated string literal. It clearly means that there is some issue in my code. Why? I'm starting with double quote but ending a single quote. This is not allowed in JavaScript. I have to use the same one. Now the error is gone. And notice that if I'm getting an error, you see this red color over here, right? Again, you see that there's a small error one. How do I know? Just go to the problems and it tells me this error right here. Okay, so this is VS Code way of telling you that there's an issue over here. Okay, so let me again change it back to double quote and the error is gone. Okay, so I hope this particular part is clear. Next, if I want to find out what is the type of data that I've actually stored in my string, how do I find out? It is very, very simple. I can do like this. I can use type of. So type of is an operator in JavaScript. And yeah, everything is in lowercase. This O is not in caps. Like I was talking about the lowercase camel casing, but in this case, everything is lowercase. So if I do like this, type of 86, what exactly I'm trying to do? I'm telling JavaScript that what is the type of data that is stored inside 86. So it is what? A string. Even though it looks like a number, but since I'm using these double quotes or single quotes, it means it is actually a string. So if I run this piece of code, see, I get this output. Nothing. Why? Because I'm not using console.log. So if I want to run the same code in my Chrome, then I don't need console.log. I can simply clear the console and type like this. See, it tells me the output as what? String. So if I want to print it like a number, I have to remove these double quotes like this. Now it should give me an output as number. So this is something which is very important. Any number that is wrapped inside single quote or double quote of backticks, it is actually a string in JavaScript. That is not a number. So if I really want to store something as a number, don't use single or double quotes. Okay, and yeah, we can use single quote inside the double quotes and vice versa. What do I mean by that? Okay, it is very simple. Let me show you. So if I do something like this, say this is my string, say hello, right? Inside the string I can write like this, hello, with a single quote, and I can write double quote. So this is allowed in JavaScript. Why? I'm starting with double quote, I'm ending with double quote, and somewhere in the between I can use single quote. So this is allowed, and this works, right? Same way, I can start with a single quote like this. Say I can write my name, okay, like this, Piyush Gupta, and I'm starting with single quote, ending with double quote. Sorry, ending in single quote, and somewhere in the between I can use double quote. This is also allowed. But if I try to use single quote inside single quote, this is not allowed. Why? Now JavaScript is thinking that this is the ending of the string. So what is this then? So that is what the confusion is. So always make it a point, right? Firstly, if you want to have single quote inside single quote, you should not do this, right? So always do like this. I hope this particular part is now clear. Let us move on. Okay. So any questions guys so far? Nope. Perfect. So I can clear this console, control and L key. Now, what do I want to do? Suppose if I try to do something like this, hi, plus maybe 2. Anyone can tell me what is the output if I try to do hi, which is in double quotes, plus a number, which is 2. What is the output? Is it going to throw an error, or what do you think can happen? Anyone can tell me?
I two. It should
Hi.
print.
So hi 2 is what?
Concatenate.
I
Correct.
two.
Absolutely. This is called
I
as
too.
joining or string concatenation. Some of you who responded, this is absolutely correct. This is called high 2. Now, if I try to do this, yeah, can you tell me what is the output of this? Anyone can tell me.
4 5.
45. 45. Means 4
45 or
5.
9? Anyone can tell me why it
45.
is
45.
4
45.
5.
45.
Because it will
Four,
absolutely?
five.
concatenate.
Because, yes, I'm
String
trying to
only.
basically join these strings. So, absolutely correct. So, but one thing that you might not be aware is that this plus operator behaves actually differently when it comes to the operands. So now let me talk about this plus operator. So this plus operator can behave like an addition operator if the operands on its left and the operands on its right are what? Numbers. So in this case, this this operator behaves like an addition operator, and the output is 5. But if I try to do something like this, say 1 plus 4 like this, in this case, now this is a string. Why? I'm wrapping this in double quotes or single quote. This is also a string because again I'm wrapping this in double quotes. What it means? It means this is a string, this is another string. So the plus operator is no longer behaving like an addition operator. Now it behaves like what? Concatenation. Okay, so this is a very, very important concept. This is called as string concatenation, where I'm trying to join two strings using the plus operator. So this plus operator is no longer addition, it is now behaving like a concatenation operator. So depending upon the operands that it has on the left or the right side, it actually changes. But what about this? If I try to do this now, 4 plus double quote of 6. Anyone can tell me what is the output if I use double quote here?
46.
46.
Okay, 46, not 10. Yeah, absolutely correct. So the answer is what? 46. Why? It is because in this case, the plus operator sees that this is a number, this is a string, and it is trying to add this number with this string, which is not really possible. So what it does is internally it converts this 4 to a string and then it tries to join them. So 4 as a string plus 6 as a string is what? 46. But if I try to do something, suppose if I just replace plus with minus, anyone can tell me what is the output?
Same one.
No, the answer is
Minus.
completely
No,
yes.
4_6.
Now see, no. This is what the answer is. Anyone can tell me why?
Okay.
Yeah, this is something that is. See, I told you, right? JavaScript can be weird at times. Okay, so what does it mean? It is because in this case, this is a number, this is a string. right? I can do an addition. I can do a what? I can do string concatenation also. So JavaScript sees that addition is not really possible here. Let me do the string concatenation. Make sense? In the second case, this minus is, we cannot concatenate using minus. So somebody was saying 4 underscore minus 6. No, this is not possible, right? In this case, I cannot concatenate using this negative. So this minus is actually a negative operator. So in this case, JavaScript will try to convert this string to a number and then it tries to perform this subtraction. That is why I get the output as -2. But if I remove this, sorry, if I replace this 6 with a dollar sign, anyone can tell me what is output if I replace 6 with dollar?
$4.06.
Okay, let us see. So if I
Invalid
do
number or something.
invalid number, correct. See, NaN. So NaN, if you remember, I told you this is something called as not a number. Okay, what do you mean by not a number? You are able to hear me, right?
Not a number.
Right. Okay, not a number. So what is going on? Why it is not a number? Because this cannot be converted to a number. So JavaScript will try to perform the subtraction, but it is not really allowed. That is when I get this NaN. So NaN, you will get this output when somehow you're trying to perform any mathematical operation, but somehow it is not possible. In that case, you will get this output NaN. But in Java, you will get a different output because NaN is only present in JavaScript. I hope you are able to understand. Any questions, guys?
Because
Sir,
output will be
if
same
we
as
use
well if you
plus
mention
operator,
double
sorry.
quotes.
Just a sec, guys. It is very difficult for me to answer this way. Okay. In that case, just raise your hand first because if a majority of you will, unmute and speak, it will be very difficult. Okay. Okay. Javid and Khadir. Okay. Firstly, I'll see Javid's name. So, Javid, please go on. Unmute.
Please open the console of browser.
Yes, please. Yeah. Yes, Javid.
If we mention a dollar under double quotes of string, then
Same,
output
same
will be
output.
the same,
Same
right?
output. Exactly. Because see, single quote and double quote are exactly the same.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter whether you use single or double quote.
Okay.
Fine. Okay, your question is clear. Okay, next is what? Khatib, I believe. Yeah, Khatib, please tell me.
Yeah. Could you please go on this?
You
Oh,
mean console?
yeah, console. Yeah, please.
Okay. Yes.
If we use another operand like instead of minus any other operand like plus or multiplication, then what would be the behavior?
Okay. Now I really wanted. I knew that you're all tempted to see like this. Again, the same output. Doesn't matter whether you use multiply or divide. See, same output. See, but only in the case of plus actually. It actually tries to concatenate. Why? It is possible to concatenate. But in this
Mm.
case, it is not possible to concatenate. So JavaScript is forced to perform a mathematical operation only, whether it is minus or multiply or divide. I hope that
Uh,
answers the question.
yes, yes. Means in case of a plus only, it will concatenate with other
Exactly.
operator. It will do the mathematical operations. It will
It will
perform.
try to perform. It will
It
try.
will try. Correct,
Correct.
correct.
The correct word is trying. See, choice of words is very important here. It is going to try because
Yes,
plus operator can be used for concatenation also. So that is where concatenation happened.
correct, correct. Got it. Thank you.
Okay. Any other person? Yeah, Javi has some doubts. Okay, I can lower your hands. Fine. Right. Let us move on. Okay. So now I will proceed. I hope is it okay, guys, if I'll take another 10 or 15 more minutes because I know it is 10 o'clock. I'm supposed to end my class, but somehow I really feel that I really wanted to cover some more topics. Right. And if some of you are getting late, you can leave the meeting. No offenses at all. I'm not here to judge you at all. So the point is what? You will get the recording anyway. So some of you, if you are getting late, feel free to drop off. That is absolutely fine. Okay. So
Yeah, one
now,
more query related to this
yeah.
camel casing. Could you please
Yes.
explain? Yeah, because I have doubt what
Yes. Yes.
camel
Just a
casing
second.
and all in case of variables or in case
Okay.
of functions we will
Yeah.
use.
Yeah. Tell me. What's the question?
See, we have declared the variable like starting from lowercase and in between some
Hmm.
uppercase I can see. Then what is
Right.
the means way to declare a variable and functions in JavaScript?
Same thing. If I want to create a variable name or a function in JavaScript, I will follow the same lower camel casing convention so that everyone who's seeing this will clearly understand that, okay, this is a variable. Simple as that.
Okay. And in case of function name, same
Same
lower.
thing, same thing, same thing. In
Okay.
future, in later classes in advanced JavaScript, I'll teach you about classes also. Therein you'll see completely different. Therein I'll show you the upper camel casing, because classes are completely different. We have to use upper camel casing.
Okay. Lower camel casing, what I understood, it should start letters should start with a small letter, first letter, right?
Okay, I'll explain you. It is in very simple terms. Suppose I have three words. Num is my first word. Second word is off. Third one is donuts. Right? These are the three words. Correct? I want to create one variable from these three words. What do? I'll join them together. But before joining them, this is the second word, right? So I'll capitalize this O and then I'll join. And this is the third word. Again, I'll capitalize this one and write like this. So the first character will always remain lowercase and all the subsequent words. So basically the first character of all the subsequent words is capitalized like this. I hope now it
Understood.
makes sense.
Yeah, good. Thank you.
So this is the
So is
common
it the
practice
same
that
rule
is,
for class
yeah.
as well?
Please come again.
Is it the same rule for defining the class name?
Okay, for classes also we follow the upper camel casing. We don't follow the lower camel case, we follow the upper camel case.
Upper camel. Okay.
Yes, don't worry about the
Functions and
classes for now.
variable, lower camel case we
Yes,
will follow, right?
functions and variables lower camel casing. For classes we use upper camel casing. And this is not what I'm telling you. This is something that we all follow because this is a standard in JavaScript. Okay? Right. So let me get started now again. Okay, if you have any doubts, please raise your hands now rather than unmuting yourself. Okay? So I'm starting with another concept called as strings are indexed. Very, very important concept again. What do I mean by strings are indexed? Let me give you a simple example. Suppose if this is my name, Piyush. So if I talk about my name, so the letter P has index of 0. The letter I has an index of 1. The letter Y has an index of 2, and so on. So the letter H. So what is the length of this string? It is 6, right? So the letter H has an index of length of this string minus 1, which is what? 5.
Fine.
This is slightly weird for people who have never done coding before. So indexing starts from 0. So P is always index 0. H is always index 5. This is not 6. This is not 1. This is 0. This is 5. So whatever is your name, right? Suppose if it is Lakshmi or if it is Javir. So in Javir, J is in the character J is index of 0, right? The character R. So whatever is the length of your name, just subtract 1 from it, and that is the last index. I hope it is clear. So this is the meaning of strings are indexed, and every string has a length property. So what do I mean by this? So if I have a string, say hello, let me just clear the console. Okay, so I'll clear it out. Suppose I have a string called hello. I want to find out what is the length of this string. Okay, so how do I find out? There's a property called length. This is what I do. So the string hello has a length of 5, and notice something, length is a property, this is not a method. So these parentheses are not allowed like this. You cannot use parentheses with property. Why? This is not a method. We use parentheses only with method. So this is something which is extremely important. Never use parentheses with property, then only it works. Okay, so one more example. If I have a string like this, say Piyush space Gupta, and if I use dot length, you might feel that the length is what? 6 plus 5, which is what? 11. But the output is not 11, it is actually 12. Why? Because of the space also. So the spacing is also included in the case of strings, which is again very, very important concept. So the spacing is included in the case of strings. Okay. And the next point, some of you might have heard. Okay. So if this is my string, so let me do like this. Say let str equal to say hello. What am I doing? I'm creating a variable called str using the let keyword, and I'm assigning it an initial value of hello. So if I want to find out or basically print out the last character, this is how I can do programmatically. I don't want to use hard-coded index. If I want to use the hard-coded index, this is what I do. So stro0 is what? Sorry, yeah, stro0 is h, right? So str of 1 is what? E. But this is a hard-coded index. That this is not something that we usually use in programming. Okay, in programming, I want to calculate this dynamically. How do I calculate this dynamically? It is very simple. I just know that if I want to find out this length, this is 0, this is 0, this is the what? 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I want to calculate this number 4 somehow. How do I calculate this number 4? Very simple. Just find out the length of this string, which is what? str.length is going to give me 5. And then if I subtract 1 from it, rather than hard coding a number, say str of 4, which is going to give me correct output, this is not the right way. So I'll write like this, str, and inside the square bracket, I have to write str.length minus 1, and I get the same output. But this is a hard-coded number, which is a very poor programming practice. This is something which is a very good programming practice. Here, I'm not at all hard-coding anything. I hope this is clear, right? So we should never use these hard-coded index. Always try to find out the index using some code or programmatically. Okay, right? I hope this is also clear. Next, there's an important concept in strings which is called as strings are immutable. It is also there in Java. So when I learned in Java, actually, somehow I saw this particular concept from so many people. Unfortunately, I never could understand it. What is the meaning of string immutability? Right. So I'll try to make it very simple for you. So let's say I create a variable called str equal to Piyush. Okay. Now, what I can do, I've told you, right? So within, if I use these square brackets or angle brackets, I can find out any particular index. So if I try to do something like this, str of 0 equal to capital P, what am I trying to do? I'm trying to change this index small p to capital P. Is it allowed actually in JavaScript? Let us see. If I simply print console.log of str, what should be the output now? Small Piyush or capital P Piyush? Let us see. So if I click on this play button over here, see, I get the output as small Piyush. It means this line is kind of ignored. Why? Because strings are immutable in JavaScript. When I say immutable, it means unchanged. I cannot change a string that is already declared in JavaScript. And even if I try to change it, JavaScript will never throw an error, but it is going to be ignored. That is why I get this output. But okay, I hope this part is clear. So strings are immutable in JavaScript, right? And I'll keep on telling you in future classes also, but this is something which is a very, very important concept. Okay, so there are some string methods that I want to cover. Okay, so I'll just tell you the names. I'll not cover these methods because, anyways, I know some of you will kill me because I'm actually, taking some little longer. So some string methods that I'll actually talk. So I just talk about the name. What is it? If there's any string, I have to use dot, and you see all of the methods that are there in string. I can see like this. All these methods are the ones that are shown in the purple color. Okay, so there are so many methods. Now some of you might be wondering, do I have to remember all of this? So the answer is definitely not. You don't have to remember all of this, but there are some very, very important methods. That is something that you will learn automatically, but with practice. You don't have to cram it like a student remembers an essay. That is not how you do it. You remember it with practice. In my case, I have not crammed it, but I've since practiced it so many times. I have given so many trainings on the same topic again and again. So I've actually, you can call it like cramming. Why? For me, it is a revision again and again and again. Okay, but in your case, I really want you to revise. So how do you use a method? Just write the name of the string followed by a dot, and you see all these methods. That is how we can see all the string methods. So with this, I would like to end the class for today. Hope it was a good learning for you. We did some good coding exercise. So we also did a small recap, as some of the people were requesting for a recap, right? And we also learned some new concepts in JavaScript, right? So I'm hoping that some of you might start to feel that JavaScript is doable. I may be afraid, a little afraid, but yeah, with practice and Piyush by my side, I think I can do it. That is the confidence I really want you to have. Okay, so I'm going to stop my screen share now. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask me, or we can end the meeting. But before
Yeah,
that,
NPM,
Oh, yes, yes,
shall
yes.
I ping
No,
you
no, no.
on
You
this
can
group?
ask me right now itself. Yeah, thank you so much, Khatib. I totally forgot about it. Okay.
That is fine, no
Yeah.
problem. Yeah.
Okay. So I can just quickly tell you one thing. Okay. Let me share my screen. So since you had this question, oh, sorry, I started my camera. Not sure why I wanted to share my screen. Okay. So I'm sharing my screen again. Can you please confirm me, Khatib, before you're able to see?
Yes, yes, I can see.
Okay. So let me show you what npm is. So if I go to my terminal, I hope you're able to see. Control L to clear.
Yes.
Okay. Now this is my terminal on my Mac. What I'm trying to do is, right? So if I type simply like this, node space hyphen v, it gives me the version of Node. What is Node? Node is required to run JavaScript on my machine. So whenever I was showing you these commands, right? I was using Node. So so basically VS Code is just an editor. It simply helps me save the JavaScript files and it shows me some powerful suggestions. But whenever VS Code is actually running this JavaScript file, it is actually using what? It is using Node behind the scenes. That is the purpose of Node. Coming to your question, whenever I install Node, I automatically also get something called as npm. npm stands for Node Package Manager. Okay, and it comes automatic whenever you install Node. So how do I know if I have npm installed? If I have, if I see a Node version, it means for sure I will also get something called as npm. So this is the version of npm. Now coming to npm, what is the purpose? So in the first class, I have shown you how to install Playwright. So how did I install Playwright? I ran this command using npm only. So in order to install any third-party library or third-party package from outside, from basically somewhere on the internet, I have to use npm. There I cannot use Node because I don't want to run JavaScript. I want to fetch an external library from somewhere in the internet into my local machine. For that reason, I will not use Node, I'll use npm. I hope now the difference is clear. Node is
Yeah.
on JavaScript. NPM is to get a third party or an external library from internet into my local machine.
Mm-hmm. Means a kind of dependency management tool, we can say,
Correct.
or
You can say, yeah, dependency management tool. And the definition is what? Node package manager. So you can manage your packages using Node.
a kind of libraries of all external jar files, right?
Something similar, but we'll not use the word jar because we are
Yeah,
using
yeah.
JavaScript. I know if you are from
Very.
Java, we keep
Yes,
on
yes.
saying these word jar, and we kind of try to compare Java and JavaScript, especially if you are from Java background. But I will simply request you try not to do it because it
Yeah,
can
yeah.
be very confusing otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
Thank you.
yeah, no worries. So before I end the class, I really want to say something that thank you so much, guys, who are actually doing that 5 minute this login scenario. Some of you must be wondering who maybe joined this group a little later. What is this 5 minute exercise? Why was Piyush talking about their names? It is just that in the previous class I showed some of the people who were there, right, how to use Playwright to install a login page on this website called Orange HRM. So this is a very, very simple thing. Even though you have never done coding before, even though you have never used Playwright before, still I showed you how to basically start and automate this particular page in less than 5 minutes. That is something. And some of you were able to try it out, right? So see, the intention is not to do the right solution. The intention is to attempt. So that this fear of coding, I just want to throw it out from your DNA. Okay, and some of you were able to reply back to me. Some of you pinged in the group, some of you pinged me in private. So I was really happy to see that people are actually following. When people say that, thank you so much, Piyush, I'm getting confident now with your guidance that I will be able to perform this coding and all. It gives me so much happiness. So please, thank you so much, guys, and please try to follow whatever I'm teaching you. Right. So I know that everybody has different speed, and we all are quite busy in our lives. I'll be sharing these notes, so please do go through these notes. And one more question. So in case if you have not enrolled in the course, please do enroll it. Firstly, this is the best price that you can actually get because in India, 6,900 rupees is actually peanuts. If you look outside, right, you will not get a course anything less than 15,000 rupees or even 20. So firstly, this is the best price. And secondly, you're not just paying for the course, you're actually paying for the mentorship, for the guidance and this hand holding that you not see in any YouTube course or anything outside, right? Therein, people are not there to answer your questions personally. So this is something that is extremely important. So I would recommend people who have not enrolled, in the course, please do enroll ASAP. Why? Because I think after 1 or 2 more sessions, they will stop the access actually. Only people who have enrolled, they will only be getting this access. Okay. Any further questions? Yeah, I see Priyanka has raised her hand. Yes, Priyanka. I didn't see it. Go on.
Yeah,
You have it.
Piyush, I don't have Node installed in my machine.
Okay.
So, what is the best website to go
Okay. Let
and
us do
install?
it right now. It is very
Yeah,
simple. Okay.
yeah.
Can you share your screen? Is it possible for you?
I think I don't have the permission to share the
Your
screen.
name is Priyanka. Just give me 1 sec. Okay. I'm not sure. Okay. Priyanka, right click. Make presenter. Now you should be able to present it.
Okay, 1 second.
This is something I wanted to teach you, but in the Playwright part. But never mind. So this is something which is mandatory actually. Without installing Node, you cannot run JavaScript in VS Code. Can you
Okay.
share your screen now, Priyanka? You
Yeah,
should see a share button at the bottom.
yes. 1 second. I'm trying to open the share screen. Then it is not opening the correct tab, so that is the reason
No,
I'm not
that's
sure.
totally fine.
Yeah. Uh,
See, we all are imperfect people. We don't have to be perfect. Even I do forget a couple of things. That's absolutely normal. So
okay,
meanwhile, what you do is you open google.com. Okay,
right.
I
Can
can
see
see your
this.
screen now. So can you
Yes.
open google.com?
Can you see this now?
I can see something available rooms, 2 bedrooms, superior apartment. Not sure if you're
I'm
trying to
not
book an
sure why it
apartment
is not
somewhere.
picking the correct web thing one.
That's absolutely fine.
Okay. You want me to open the Google, right?
Yes, open google.com. Or don't worry, even if you're not able to share, and that is also fine. Just open
Yeah.
google.com or
Yeah.
best option. Let me share my screen. I can show you. That will be even
Yeah,
better.
I can do simultaneously, not a problem there.
Yes, I'll share my screen, guys. Just a sec.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so uh, is it visible, guys?
Yes. Yes,
Okay.
now yes. Yes.
So Priyanka, what machine you have? Is it no? Sorry, Windows or Mac?
It's a Mac.
Okay, you are having a Mac machine.
Yes.
Perfect. So I'll tell you like how to install on Windows and Mac. It is very simple. Just
Mm-hmm.
open google.com and simply type Node.js install or Node.js download. Doesn't matter.
Okay,
So the
Node.js
first
download.
website that you see over here is the official website, which is download Node.js. I will
Yes,
click on it.
download. Yes, I can see that here.
Now you will see an option Mac because by default you're on Mac, so you
Mac
will get this
installer.
for Mac.
Yeah.
So for other people who will open this page, for them it will be Windows if they are on a Windows machine. Okay. Now my question to you now is, which architecture of Mac you are having? Are you having a latest Mac or an older Mac?
I have the latest one.
Okay. If you have a latest one,
M1
then you
machine.
have to.
M1 machine.
Sorry, please come again.
It's M1 machine.
Okay,
6 in
M1.
1.
Okay.
Yeah.
M1 machine is basically what? It is an Apple Silicon chip. In that case,
Yeah.
you can go with ARM architecture.
Okay.
Okay. Now click on this .pkg file. So
Okay.
this will
PG.
get installed in your machine.
Okay.
So this
Mac
will
install.
download an installer. So
Yes.
once it is downloaded, just click on
Uh-huh.
open and do next, whatever. That's it. It's such a simple process.
Right.
And if you face any issues, yeah, after this, what you need to do is just check in terminal. If you have Node installed, simply type node space -v. That's it.
Okay.
And if you face any issues, you can send me a screenshot on my personal chat. That's it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, this should install Node.
Right.
And
It's
in the case
installed.
of Windows machine, you will get Windows. In your case, you have to check if it is a what? If it is a basically a 32-bit machine or a latest 64-bit machine. So you have to check in your Windows and accordingly you can select this. That's it. So it's a very simple installation. And now, yeah, that's it. Any
Mm-hmm.
questions, guys?
What would be the course duration for this?
So the course duration, what we have planned is somewhere around 40 hours. I know it is a lot. 40 hours is something that is a lot. But I don't like to go with the number of hours because it's all about the concepts. If I feel that concepts are getting over in say 42 hours, doesn't matter if you're extending it to 42 also or maybe 45, doesn't matter. The only point is whatever topics I have defined actually in the course curriculum that you can see, right? I want to make sure that everything is covered. And at the
Uh,
end, you should feel the more value.
I haven't received that course content. Could you please share in the group?
Yes,
Because
definitely. I'll share that in the group.
yeah, and will we implement any real-time project or something? after
I
completion of this course?
Yes, in this particular case, so it's not about real-time projects. The most
Yeah,
important thing
any
is what?
project. Yeah.
Yes. See, I don't have the real-time project to be very honest because this is something that is not required actually. The most important thing is we should get this confidence of working in a actually a real framework in a real company environment. That's the whole point.
Yes, actually, I got a project in our organization
Okay. Okay.
with this BDD framework using
Okay.
JavaScript for
Right.
Playwright.
Right.
Right? I
Okay.
need to implement. Just I need your guideline to for this.
I totally get that. Don't worry, Khatib. I'm there with
Yeah.
you. Right. So
Yeah.
I'll make sure that you will get very confident. And I'm
Yeah.
getting a lot of comments from people like who have started working that Piyush,
Yeah.
like I've never worked on coding before, but now after one or
Mm.
two sessions, I could see that I'm able to learn, I'm able to follow. These are some small confidence boosters. If you guys are able to feel that yes, I'm getting better every single day with these sessions, I think it is worth it. That is all we want, right? It is not the real time project. It is actually the confidence to work in any project.
Yeah. True. Very true. Yeah. Mm.
Right? Okay. Any other questions, guys?
Um, Piyush, do we get any sort of certificate or something after completing the course, or it's just
Yes, Neetu, we will, sorry, not we, you will get a certificate, but not from me, but from Isha Institute.
okay? Okay, yeah. And
Yes.
what about the payment? How to make the payment? Because we don't know, like, to whom we need to contact for the payment for
Okay.
enrolling.
Yes. For enrolling, I would suggest whosoever has a doubt, just post in the group. Right. One of the
Okay,
admins will look into the group and they will contact you in person.
okay, all right. Thank you.
Yes. And please don't ask for that discount. Somebody was asking for the discount the other day, and I was like, how come you're asking for a discount in such a small amount, which is 1,600 rupees? So yeah, so if you have any doubts, please do reach out. Right, if you have any questions, if you're not able to maybe figure out something, you can ping me and I can ask somebody who can help you out with the payment part. But please do enroll, otherwise after one or two more sessions you will not be able to access these classes because they are initially free, but afterwards they'll be completely paid.
Fine. No problem. And all.
Yes, and please, I will also share all the notes of these classes so that if at all you are not able to access, of course you will get the videos, but sometimes it is not practically possible to go through these videos. In that case, notes will actually help to just quickly brush up the concepts. That is also something that you'll get in this course. I don't
Yeah.
see people sharing the notes. You'll
Yeah.
have to
Please
do it
share
all
the
by yourself.
course content, please. Huh?
Yes, yes, I'll surely do that, Khadir.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so looks like it is anyways quite late now. So guys, so hold on.
One question
Yeah,
here. Actually,
Pranila.
I made a payment already, but I
Okay.
didn't get any confirmation.
Don't worry, Pranila. If you have made the payment, don't worry. They are not going to run away with your money. Trust me, I'm there. Don't
Uh,
worry.
yeah, in USD it is.
Okay. Okay, so the thing is, what see, Pranila, what happens is like those people are dealing with so many different people. Isha Institute is actually conducting so many courses. This is just one of the course, and unfortunately, those poor guys have to deal with so many different people. It is not easy.
Okay.
So don't worry. By tomorrow, day after, for sure you will get a reply. If not, please do let me know. I'll make sure you'll get a reply.
Piyush, last one thing.
Yeah, no
What are
worries.
the
Hmm.
extensions we have to use? One is the code runner for the
Okay,
VS Code, and what is the another
correct.
one?
Okay, one is code runner. Second one
Yeah.
is material icon theme. It is basically to beautify the VS Code. It is
Yeah.
not
Yes.
mandatory.
Yeah. I wanted that one. Sorry, I
Yeah,
need to
it
note
is
down the name.
material icon theme by Philip Kaif.
Philip Kite Material Icon thing.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, guys. But I
Thank
really appreciate you guys that you are asking me questions actually. Okay.
Thank you, Piyush.
No worries. So looks like there are no more questions. Right. So now, anyways, it is very late now. Just forget about JavaScript and just chill and have fun. Okay. So
Thank you,
multitasking is not really
Piyush.
good at times. Okay, guys. So I'm ending the
Thank
meeting.
you. Bye.
You
Take care.
thank you.
Bye bye.